A very good rainy morning from the capital of Georgia, but not Airline, Georgia. I'm here in Tbilisi, Georgia, in the middle of the Caucasus. And the reason why we're here today is because we're just about to jump on a flight operated by a low-cost airline. But it's not gonna be Ryanair, it's not gonna be EasyJet, and it's not gonna be Wizz Air. Instead, today we're flying on a low-cost airline that is based in Kazakhstan. And that is an airline that is considered by many to be amongst the most dangerous in the world. So dangerous that its airplanes are even banned from crossing the airspace of the European Union. So that's basically why we had to come all the way to Tbilisi, because we've got a flight ticket to go from Tbilisi to Aktau, which is a Kazakh city on the Caspian Sea. And I think we're actually supposed to leave in a couple of hours, so let's just go to the airport and let's find out whether Sky Airlines is actually as bad as they say. Oh, you guys are not gonna believe this. I was literally stepping out of the door when I got a notification, an email from Sky Airlines telling me that my flight was delayed. By some time, so to speak. My flight has been delayed to freaking 1 AM, from 3 PM to 1 AM. That's like in 10 hours from now. What the heck am I going to do here in Tbilisi for an extra 10 hours? Who the hell delays a flight by 10 hours just 3 hours before the originally scheduled departure time? Sky Airlines, that's who. We're not really off to a good start, dude, like at all. But anyways, I'll be fine. I'll go and play some Pokemon probably, and then I'll see you guys in the evening at this point.
10 hours later.
So, while I'm calling a taxi to the airport, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. So basically, earlier today, this afternoon, I was obviously announcing that I was going to fly with Sky Airlines on my way to Kazakhstan. A follower of mine wrote me and he told me a fun fact. Obviously, the name of the airline is Sky Airlines that we're going to fly today. And apparently, the word scat in British slang means the act of consuming human feces directly from one another's booty hole. That's funny, isn't it? I think this name is very fitting for the little adventure that we're going to have today. What am I saying today? Tonight. Gamarjoba Rogorkar Airport. Skat Airlines. You were in Kazakhstan? You've been? Well guys, Sky Airlines is indeed very much full of surprises indeed. I've just got an email. Basically, you guys should know that Aktau is not actually my final destination with Sky Airlines, but I'm supposed to actually just connect. My final destination for this trip is actually Shymkent, which is a Kazakh city miles and miles away from Aktau on the border with Uzbekistan. And basically, guess what? I just got an email which told me that the second leg of the flight was postponed as well. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is basically the weirdest email ever, because it's in Russian, but it's a mixture of Cyrillic characters and Latin characters too. And it's basically telling me that the flight from Aktau to Shymkent from tomorrow has been postponed by a couple of hours to 9 AM. Guys, look at all the fascinating destinations that you can fly to from Tbilisi airport, from an airport in the middle of the Caucasus. You of course cannot fly to the usual Ryanair hubs like Malaga, Stansted, Milan Bergamo? No. Look, you can fly to Tehran in freaking Iran. How freaking fascinating is that? You can fly to Baku, which is on the Caspian Sea, exactly as... Oh, come on. I can't read freaking Georgian. Come on, switch back to English. There you go, Baku on the Caspian Sea, but on the other side, compared to Aktau, you can fly to Amman in Jordania. You can fly to Oh, come on again. You can fly to Kazakhstan, also to Almaty, but we're not going to Almaty today because we're going to Aktau with Sky Airlines. Look at this amazing Sky Airlines logo dating back directly to the 1980s. Check-in counter is 24 and 25, so let's freaking go. Well, not many people going to freaking Aktau at 1 in the morning from Tbilisi, looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 people checking in at the moment. Well, 8 with me. Maldoba. Can you see my sexy Georgian stamp and my cappuccino as well, which hopefully won't just get me all the way to Aktau, but hopefully this one will pull me through all the way to Shymkent when we eventually reach Shymkent after the second leg of our journey with the most dangerous airline in the world. And speaking of the most dangerous airline in the world, I was just checking the aircraft that we're gonna be traveling on tonight is a Bombardier CRJ-200. Its age is 22.7 years. So it's fairly old. It's also a pretty small plane, so that actually explains why we were seeing very few people at the check-in counter. Maldoba. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be boarding by bus, just as if we were in Venice Treviso or something, right? My assumption is that the plane that we're gonna be traveling on is just so ugly. Tbilisi airport is doing its best to keep it out of sight for most passengers traveling through Tbilisi airport. So it's gonna be hidden somewhere like 25 kilometers away from the main terminal of the airport. Alright guys, so I'm sitting on this Bombardier and you guys check out the interior of this plane. Look at this. Darlan Logistics, this Chinese company, is probably the company that is responsible for this interior. I will say one thing, it might be the most dangerous airline in the world, but just because the interior is so old, it's actually very comfortable. Just because, I mean, we all know that airliners used to be way more comfortable back in the day, and just because, I mean, this plane dates back to I don't know how many years ago, it's actually very comfortable. By the way guys, I just met a guy from Germany and you said that you're going volunteering in Bishkek, is that right? Isn't that amazing? Oh. Are you actually aware of the reason why I'm vlogging this trip?
No, actually not.
Do you know that we're just about to fly on the most dangerous airline in the world?
Oh.
Did you know about that? I'm not kidding, dude.
Okay.
This airline is technically banned in the European Union. I'm not kidding, dude. I'm not kidding, dude. Why did you think it was so cheap? Alright, so while we're still taxiing to the runway, let's have a look at the safety card of the most dangerous airline in the world. Look at this, Scott Airlines CRJ-200. Obviously you're not allowed to smoke, not even in the lavatory. Man, look at the safety laws from Scott Airlines. You're actually obliged to wear a seatbelt as well. And what you cannot do, which is unusual, is you cannot consume any kind of alcohol, which is pretty inconsiderate. I mean, if I'm going to die because the plane is going to crash, I mean, that would be good if I was actually drunk at that moment, right? And this is also pretty cool because this is the first ever safety card that I see in English, obviously, in Russian, and in Kazakh. Alright dudes, we're just about to take off. This might very well be the last takeoff of my life. Can we hold hands? Wow, and they even give you a bottle of water for free. Man, it's already better than Ryanair. Let's have a look at the in-flight magazine. Let's see what we've got. Wow, look at this. This in-flight magazine is showcasing the best parts of a freaking Kazakhstan. Look at this. You've got random communist statues. You've got nuclear explosions and random abandoned buildings in the middle of the desert. Oh my god. And here you've got the best part of any in-flight magazine, which is the flight map. Look at this. You've got all the destinations, international destinations that you can fly to from Kazakhstan with Scott Airlines. And look at this. You can go to Russia, you can go to Georgia, you can go to Armenia, you can go to Egypt, you can go to Thailand. But places like Italy, places like Germany, places like Liechtenstein. Oh, that one is not actually in the European Union, right? Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Scott Airlines still has got a long way before being allowed to fly into the EU. And then we've got a random Erdogan for whatever reason. Well done, Scott Airlines. Right, so I'm gonna go and see how the toilet looks like. a piece of shit. Yes, that is. Oh, you can even do this to hang your clothes. That's pretty neat. And yeah, obviously you've got a sink, you've got soap, and I mean, what else can I say? It's just a stupid toilet after all. Not really good at toilet reviews. Alrighty, so the captain of the plane just came on the phone and he just said that we're very near Aktau right now and we're just about to be approaching the airport, our destination for this flight. Are you nervous about the landing, dude? Dude, we freaking made it alive. Thank you, Rahmet. This just has to be the tiniest passport stamp I've ever seen, but I've made it. I've made it into Kazakhstan, and also what we can see here is what I think is probably one of the prettiest flags I've ever seen in my life. Look at this, the Kazakh flag. It is pretty nice indeed, and now we've made it to the main hub of Skat Airlines. And just so you guys can see that this is indeed the main hub for Skat Airlines, we've got already 3 Skat Airlines flights early in the morning. We've got 1 flight to Almaty, we've got 1 flight to Kokshetau, which is already going to be delayed by 2 hours, and we've also got a 3rd flight to Shymkent, which is gonna be delayed by 3 hours, and that is actually my flight out of Aktau. Это Caspian Sea, да?
Блогер, да? Блогер,
Наверное. Нет, просто гуляю, да. Да, я хотел поехать на Skat Airlines, потому что на интернете говорили, что это самая опасная авиакомпания в мире.
Skat хорошая компания.
Да, нормально. It's freaking freezing! We're in the middle of nowhere in the desert, which means that it gets really hot here during the day, but during the night it gets really cold. But anyway, doesn't really matter now. I've officially lost my Central Asian virginity. Thank you, Kazakhstan. This is actually my very first time in Central Asia, and I'm also just about to lose my Caspian Sea virginity because I've never been to Baku, I've never been to Makhachkala. This is indeed going to be my first ever visit to the Caspian Sea. So obviously now the plan is, let's just wait for the sun to rise fully at around, I don't know, 7 a.m. probably, and then at that point we will grab a taxi to Aktau city center and pay our homages to the Caspian Sea. Салам алейкум.
Куда едем?
Не знаю. Я хочу посмотреть море. Каспийское море. Там есть пляж в городе?
Пляж есть, да.
Поедем?
Поедем, да?
Да,
Конечно.
да, спасибо. У меня есть рейс в Shymkent через 3 или 4 часа, но я думал, ну, посмотрим город, посмотрим Каспийское море. Никогда не видел. О, боже мой, это мой первый раз в Казахстане.
Пустяшка вообще, пустяшка.
Guys, can you look at these steps while we're making our way to Aktau and to the beach on the shore of the Caspian Sea? Look at this! Oh,
Еще верблюды там.
oh боже! Guys, there are freaking camels crossing the road! Я никогда не видел таких животных.
Сними. Прогуляешь, вот.
Да,
Дальше.
смотрю море, мой первый
Дальше
раз
до
на
15
Каспийское
метров,
море.
Красиво это.
Окей, спасибо за советы. Wow, guys, we have made it to the Caspian Sea. Well, look at this nice набережная over the Caspian Sea that was built using oil money, obviously, but that's very nice. That's a really good job. Well done, Aktau. I think this was the very last large sea of Europe that I was yet to visit. The Caspian Sea, my first time on the shore of a sea that waters the shores of Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Russia, Turkmenistan is another one, and I'm pretty sure Iran as well. Right on the opposite side from here, you've got Baku, you've got the capital of Azerbaijan. Over there, further north, you've got Derbent, on the border between Azerbaijan and Russia. And then obviously, even further north, you've got Makhachkala, the capital of Dagestan. So I guess, thank you, Scat Airlines, but now the time has actually come for me to go back to the airport and jump on the second and final flight of the day towards Shymkent. This is not good. I'm like fairly % sure that the last time that I was here this morning, my flight was due to leave at 10. And now it says 11. My flight to Shymkent is the second one from the top. Go figure. Scat Airlines. Oh, and also actually I'm laughing now, but I'm pretty desperate because I wanna freaking go to sleep. I haven't slept all night long and I'm like, oh no, another delay? I'm gonna need a cappuccino and some breakfast, but mostly another cappuccino. Dude, I seriously swear I'm getting so sleepy, like this is torturous. I've got myself some samsa, which is apparently a Kazakh burek with cheese, just to keep me warm. Obviously I've got a cappuccino to keep me warm and awake. This is also like the worst cappuccino I've ever had, but I mean, if I want to keep awake, I had better down it. Okay, so apparently no one's checking boarding passes. It's a free-for-all. Let's just hope that I'm getting on the right flight. Speaking of which, this is actually the Boeing 737 that is going to take us all the way to the other side of the country. The age of this plane is 31 years. Alright, so they are checking boarding passes. It's just that they're doing so right before the jetway. Ahmed. Right, so I've got a fun fact for you guys. Apparently, my seat is number 31, that's the row, and the seat is F, 31F. So just because of that, I thought that I was going to be all the way to the back of the plane, but I'm actually not, because as you guys can see, I'm only halfway through the plane, and that is because I've just noticed, I don't know if you guys can see it, but basically, you can see that it jumps from row 11 to row 30. So we're like completely missing rows from 12 to 29 and I have no idea why that is. Maybe all the numbers from 12 all the way to 29 are bad luck here in Kazakhstan. Much falling asleep, boys. I don't know how much of this flight I will be able to narrate. So I had a really nice nap, let me tell you. Very much needed. It's been an hour and a half since we took off from Aktau. What I can say is that this flight has been smooth as butter. We can see the wing right here, and I think it's fairly intact. There's nothing that got detached during the flight. Interior of this plane, even though it's 31 years old, is still fairly decent. Рахмет, а почему нет места 11:30?
Потому что аварийный ряд уже начинается с 30-го.
А, всегда?
Да.
О, интересно. Спасибо. This airport is Sovietly tiny, but it looks very nice. It's super small, and unfortunately it looks like that over there in the distance they're actually building a new monstrosity of a terminal with big glass windows and stuff. All I want to do now is just find a hotel where I can sleep for the next 42 hours straight, so let's go. Salam alaikum.
Здесь вообще стоять нельзя, понимаешь? 9000 штраф.
О, боже. Я? Угадайте.
Откуда?
Я из Италии.
Да. Челентано.
Челентано, он умер, наверное, не знаю даже, он старый. Ну да. Вы местные из Shymkenta?
Да.
Okay. Интересно. So hello from Independence Park here in Shymkent. This was a bit of a one-off video just because, I mean, I don't really like vlogging on airplanes and stuff, but I think it was definitely a fun one. I think we managed to debunk the fact that Scat Airlines is not, at the end of the day, the most dangerous airline in the world, and it should probably not be banned from the airspace of the European Union. So I think we've got off to a really good start for our time here in Kazakhstan. Guys, stay tuned and I'll see you somewhere else. Cheers! Thank you! Bye!